must warn you. Those who come do not return.
Look out that window, y'all. Welcome to Bad Bitch Airlines.
It's very different in
You're on a
there.
one-way trip.
I give you heat, my brother.
That's a trip.
Good luck.
Trash.
And may you be blessed with that.
You are now tuning in to Chatty Charles. Second season, Chatty Charles. Second half. Here we go, y'all.
What makes you a bad bitch?
Are you a bad bitch, y'all?
I'm a bad bitch. She's a bad bitch. She's a bad bitch. Bad bitch. Bad bitch. She's a bad bitch. She's a bad bitch. Bad bitch.
She don't know what I did. She didn't attitude. Yeah, she's a bully and trying to act like a dude. Yeah, I won't stand for no shit tonight, bitch. I can make anyone a hit. Someone you wanna argue with. 5 minutes in the spotlight and it ain't shining on you 'cause your shit just ain't that bright. You got the collective talent. You're always down and about it, but your reconnection figuring out the things that you just doubted.
She's a bad bitch. She's a bad bitch.
Welcome to Bad Bitch Airlines. This is a one-way trip.
I'm funny now. She's a bad bitch. She's a bad bitch.
Yeah, Kenny, what you get into?
I can handle this. Bad bitch, bad bitch, she's a bad bitch. Bad bitch, bad bitch, she's a bad bitch. Bad bitch, bad bitch, she's a bad bitch. Bad bitch, bad bitch, she's a bad bitch.
Not gonna be defensive, but it's about award season. So get on stage and make me proud. You better bring a girl 'cause it's award time. Bad bitch, she's a bad bitch. What? Bad bitch, she's a bad bitch. Come on.
She's not like the others. She's dangerous.
No need to speak, yeah, the loop repeats. Every song, yeah, it's just on repeat. It sounds the same, it sounds so lame. The pity, wish it was a shame. The Grateful Dead, that's my game. But we're blessed, but the people don't want to see everything that they're doing for you and me. If it weren't for those people following our fans, it wouldn't be that easy.
Bad bitch.
They call you a promoter, but I'm the one. I'm not the legacy's daughter, but I'm the one who's gonna get her the paper. I ain't never come for you, but you wanna come for me? Now you wanna be up in the mix with this nigga here, so you ain't getting shit done. Come on, speak. Bad bitch, bad bitch. She's a bad bitch. She's a bad bitch. Bad bitch. She's a bad bitch, bad bitch. She's a bad bitch. She's a bad bitch, bad bitch.
She's a bad bitch.
Bad bitch, bad bitch. She's a bad bitch. She's a bad bitch. Bad bitch. She's a
Bad bitch, bad bitch, she's a bad bitch, she's a bad bitch. Bad bitch, she's a bad bitch.
bad bitch.
Bad bitch. Bad bitch. Bad bitch.
Coming back.
Bad bitch.
She's
The worst place It just seemed like the roads were in stew.
Going on? What is going on, y'all? Welcome to another Chatty Charles. Hello, everyone. This is Charles Anthony. Welcome to the show. Now, guys, it's been a little bit since I did my last broadcast. It was probably back in May. But now we're into the second half of the second season of Chatty Charles. I know a lot is going on since May. The last that I'd spoken on my podcast was just what's going on in America, what's going on in the world, dealing with COVID-19. Now we're dealing with all this racist stuff that's going on. We're at the height of just a few months from electing a new president, and everything that's happening in the news, there are still African-American lives that are being taken in front of the eyes of not just America, but the entire world, and on the news for the world to see. So ignorance is not bliss, and ignorance is not blind. Rather, ignorance is being brought to the attention of everyone. in the world. True colors are being shown. It's blatant how people are feeling, whether they're feeling right or whether they're feeling wrong. People are speaking out against certain things, cultures, people, laws, rules. That doesn't mean that we can't get to a place of unity. You know, you got to have differences. That's what makes everyone so beautiful. That's what makes this world so beautiful. You can have something that you feel different than another person, but there are healthy ways to talk about and express indifferences. I might feel one way about something, and someone might feel completely opposite. That doesn't mean that we can't coexist, have a normal conversation, get an understanding of one another, as well as, most importantly, educate each other on those differences you might have. You know, I might not like something because I feel a certain way about something, but I could be educated on that something I don't like, and I might find a balance where I can, you know, be civil and, you know, empathetic to how that person feels. I don't have to necessarily agree with them, but I can sure enough listen to them and educate myself more. Without getting that knowledge, without getting that education, without getting the facts, we are no one. We're no better than the other person if we don't take the time to stop and listen to other people. I find that every day in this world, and it's sad, because in America the display is coming from the person who is supposed to protect all of us, which is our president, who is not doing that. Even though his party wants to persist that he's protecting all Americans, when there are over 160,000 dead Americans due to COVID-19, when there are millions of people in this country going to the streets for peaceful protests of all races, genders, colors, sexual orientations, to tell them that this is not the America we want to live in. This is not how we want to coexist. We want to work together. We are one. Take the factor of race, sexuality, gender out of it and be American. I did a show today on a new platform. It's a new app called Stereo app. It's really awesome. You get to take an avatar, and it's basically being on social media, but being able to go live and talk to other people from around the world. I'm happy to say that I am a curator for Stereo app, and I do a show on there on Saturdays, as well as during the weekdays. You can catch me on there dropping into other people's shows, or when I feel like I need to have a moment and express that moment. As my fans and previous listeners know, I share my moments. Sometimes I can be driving in my car and I pop on and tell you how I'm feeling. I think that's important for people to share, because we don't know how the other person next to us is feeling without them expressing themselves. You know, I've seen a lot of acts going on within our own country of hate. And these people that are creating and doing these acts are definitely people who don't have an understanding of the other person. These are people who aren't taking the time to learn about another culture because they're ignorant that they're too good to learn about another culture. Well, that doesn't make you any better than the other person. That makes you 100% less than that other person. So that person you're pointing that gun at and you want to take their life because of the color of their skin, let's just get that straight, that you are less educated, less important than that person's life you took. That person is 10,000 times stronger than you are. 10,000 times stronger. I don't understand why people won't take the time to listen to other people. People are so ready to talk over other people and to get their point across. Everyone has a point. Everyone has a right to say something. There's nothing wrong with that. Freedom of speech. But I think people take that and they really push the boundaries. Freedom of speech does not necessarily mean you can just say whatever the hell you want to say out your mouth. That's what people are using it for. Freedom of speech, people are taking in the wrong context, and it's disgraceful. It is very disgraceful to this country. Me, as an American, I find it absolutely disgraceful. Freedom of speech is there to educate people. The freedom to say how you feel. The freedom to express how you feel. But with those freedoms that you have, you need to realize that those freedoms are meant to be spoken in a way to educate others, in a way to express healthily issues that persist. Issues of the past, issues of the future, issues of the present. Freedom of speech does not give you the freedom to call me the N-word. Not at all. That's not what freedom of speech is there for. So don't take what the Constitution has created for us and spin it for your directive, because that is truly not American. Going out on the street and shooting people during peaceful protests for people trying to make change. People just want to be equal, which should have been equal, because all men and women should be created equal as God intended. God is not giving his hand saying, go out and take this life. Go out and take that life. Go out and get rid of one race. Go out, do A and B. He is not saying that. He has not said that to you. You know he has not said that to you. God would not have created every single person differently if he didn't want it that way. This world would not exist if people were not different. Did God create every fish the same? No. Is there one kind of dog? No. Just like there's not one kind of human being. But you know what we all share in common? We're human. We're all human beings. We all have a heart. We're all supposed to have a soul. So what you're doing is taking God's creation, God's children, which we all are, God's creation, and y'all are messing with his plan. And you should feel 100% disgraceful if you are one of those people committing acts of violence, words of violence, hate. God did not create people to hate one another. Do you not recall what's in the Bible? What God has dealt with his own family, brothers? How separation is not the answer. How it can tear down a nation, as you see. Now, a lot of people say, and still say, that America is the greatest nation. I am proud to be an American. But when we say that, it's in the perspective, I think, of how you feel and how you're being treated in a country where you're supposed to be an American. So putting that into perspective, you got to take a step back and ask yourself, are you American? Make a list. What do you like about America? What do you dislike about America? Take that list. What you like about America? Great. What you don't like about America? Why don't you educate yourself on that? You know, it's one thing for people to not like another set of people based solely on the color of their skin. Is it so hard to talk to someone of another race, to listen to someone of another race? Are you that hard-headed and so racist that you can't take time to listen to another person? But you want to fight for this country and say that you're American? You're not American, because you can't listen to your neighbor. You're not American. America is a melting pot. A melting pot of different race, culture, gender, sexuality, thoughts, beliefs, wishes, and most importantly, dreams. The American dream. What's your American dream? And can you achieve that American dream alone? Do you want to be alone? Do you want to be an outcast? Some of you do. Some of you don't. Some of you get a rise off of that. Get a rise. Stay at your home. Get that rise. But don't bring that shit out into the world. Don't bring it out here. Because we're not going to take it. No one's going to take it. I know I'm not. I'm speaking for myself. And I believe I'm also speaking for millions of other Americans that feel the same way I do. For a long time, almost 40 years, until these past recent year, actually I would say the past recent 4 years, where we have someone who's our president basically trying to re-spark the past, divide people, separate people, put them in different classes according to race and culture. A president who's not willing to talk to all Americans, but to push his agenda so strong to get his supporters that he still has more ramped up, and to antagonize the rest of the citizens. Things that are blatantly seen with not just the eyes of Americans, but the world. Blatantly. Stop saying it's the media that's making things worse or over-exaggerated. It's not the media that has their iPhone or their Android in their hand going live on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat. That's not the media. That's a citizen showing you what is going on. Present day, present time. Not the media. Stop saying the media is pushing a certain agenda. Yes, we do have media that is totally changing perspective, and they are definitely not fact-checking, and they're alluding people to what they solely feel in their hearts is right when it's wrong. But they're so stuck in their ways, they're not leaving room to even learn, to further their knowledge. Education. Education. I don't know how many times I have to say this. Get educated. You wonder why we're still here in this time dealing with stuff that our parents should not be dealing with. They should be enjoying their retirement. We should not be dealing with, because we are ready to pursue our futures. We are trying to pass on a beautiful life and a beautiful world to our children. And our children should not have to come into a world with all this separation and bias going on, just as our parents didn't want us to be brought into that world. Brought into this world in 1980, I was taught how to live, to act, to be, to present myself from my parents. Educated, not just by the public schools, but also at home. Educated how to carry myself as a black man in America. Education never stops. Every day you can learn something. I learn something new every single day. You know, there are so many people out there in the world that are so stuck in a bubble, and they're feeling too comfortable inside that bubble, that they start believing every single thing. And they start believing more and more on their indifferences. So profound that some of these fools feel because their indifferences are correct when they are not. But they're so instilled in your head because they're so closed off and so closed-minded walking out into the streets amongst millions of citizens of all ages, races, colors, genders, pulling out an assault weapon to do harm on others instead of taking the time to make your weapon your mouth, your ears, your eyes. Those that are doing this, you are your own terrorist. You are an American terrorist. Before you take action in anything you do and jump off the handle and immediately respond to something, why can't you take 30 seconds? Shut your fucking mouth. Think. After 30 seconds, you start having crazy thoughts. May not seem crazy to you. Take another 30 seconds. I'm asking you for a minute. Take another 30 seconds. Think about the other person. Think about maybe this person not returning home to X amount of kids, wife, husband, family, schools because they're an educator, hospitals because they're a frontline medical worker, trash man who's removing that trash from your home that's put on the street once a week. Think about the life that you might be destroying and how that life you're destroying actually could have played a big part in your life or is playing a big part in your life. But you think it's simple just to put a bullet through somebody. That makes you weak. Makes you weaker than anything that exists at all. That doesn't make you a man putting a bullet in someone. It doesn't make you a woman putting a bullet in someone. Calling someone a hatred word doesn't make you any stronger. It just makes you look less. The most powerful thing that exists is the power of knowledge. And if you want to be ignorant enough to cause harm to someone, then you have no knowledge. There is a difference when you are acting upon self-defense, when you feel personally that your life is at risk immediately, and you must defend yourself to protect yourself and protect your life. That's a different case. But walking out in the middle of a street with a rifle or any weapon and causing acts of harm and death to people that are not armed, are not coming for your life, not a threat to your life, but yet you can put your hand on that trigger, pull that trigger back, and once you pull that trigger and that bullet comes out that gun, it's too late to turn back because you've already created an hateful act. That bullet now traveling through the air towards a certain person, maybe towards a group of people. Think about this. That bullet intended for someone that you didn't like because of the color of their skin, their sexuality, the way they dress, the way they look, where their heritage comes from. It just misses that person that you had that intended bullet for, and it whisks right past that person and hits another person. You didn't know that your mother was out there. You didn't know your father's out there, your cousin, your sister, your neighbor. And it hits them. Now that person's on the ground, dying, bleeding out. And you can't save them. It's too late. Because your act of hate against someone else has now been brought closer to home than you ever thought, because now that act of hate you had intended for someone else has hurt someone in your life and that is close to you. Why? Because you decided to go out and have hate in your heart. So now you're holding your mama there. She's bleeding in the street. You're holding your father. He's bleeding. You're holding your daughter and your sons, and they're bleeding in your hands because of a hateful act that you have committed against someone. Let that be a lesson. God didn't intend for that bullet to hit that person you're aiming for. God decided He wanted to change you, to educate you, to make you feel hurt, make you feel pain, bring it close to your home. Because that's exactly the feeling that you are giving to other families and other people when you create a hateful act towards someone else. Strongest tool and weapon you can use is your mind. A mind is meant to learn things. A mind is there to teach things. Thoughts can change. You can always use more knowledge. Everyone can. I seek to find more knowledge every day within myself and within the people that surround me, which would be community, this country. I don't believe everything I see on TV, but I don't necessarily not believe it. What do? I further advance and I seek out the information, fact check it, seek more knowledge. You know, some people are so quick to react to something without knowing facts. It's a sad day, America. This has been a sad year. I'm going to tell you this. I won't be anyone's victim. I won't be anyone's victim to anything. I will be my own voice. And I will continue, as I have for 40 years, to use my voice to hopefully educate people, instill knowledge in people, break stereotypes, bring people closer as one. You know, unity starts with you. Take a look at you. Stand in front of the mirror. Are you the best you? Are you the best you that you can be? If you can look in that mirror and ask yourself simple questions like, can I go out in the world today amongst people of different culture, race, that are different than me? Have a good day, do my work, get home, take care of my family as I am supposed to do, and wake up the next day and do the same thing? If your answer is no, go back to the you, because it's you. Ask yourself the question, can I walk out my house today, not have to worry about being pulled over, being stopped, being stared at, being gawked at by the color of my skin, by the outfit that I'm wearing, by the shoes on my feet? Can I return home safely and not experience negativity from one or plus people? Ask yourself that. Answer that question for yourself. And it comes back to you. Can you be willing to listen to others Be willing to educate yourself. Be willing to listen, lend a hand, treat others with respect, humanity, and decency as you want to be treated? Can you? You. Can you allow your child to receive their free public education, as every child should have the right to? Can you allow your child to come home with their new friend they met in school? Come home with their new friend of the opposite race, but see the happiness and joy on your child's face for their new friend they made. The most happy you've ever seen your child. Your child able to coexist with other children. To be able to make friends. To be able to be heard, seen, normal. Or are you going to strip that from your child so your child's alone? Has no friends. Has no voice. Create a secluded world for them and instill knowledge in their head. Knowledge of ignorance. Because it's ignorant not to allow a child to experience everything a child should. And that's the joys of being alive. The joys of being able to breathe the same air as other people. The joys of being able to receive the same education as others. To coexist with others. To be in harmony with others. Can you? Again, you. The first letter in unity. Ask yourself that. Ask your child, can they see a difference between a group of children? Let's take a picture. A picture of children of all races and colors and gender. Hold that picture up to your child. See, what do you see? And don't help your child. Just let them answer the questions. What do you see in this picture? Let your child respond. They're probably going to say, I see a bunch of kids from my school. I see our teachers lined up here. That's our class picture. Blah, 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 blah. Your child's not going to sit up there honestly and say to you, I see a bunch of A, a bunch of B. They're not going to sit up there and say, I see a bunch of this. And they're not looking for negativity in that picture. Unless you're forcing that negativity upon your child. Unless you're teaching your child to hate. Why would anyone in their right mind want to teach somebody to hate somebody? I mean, I'm not a doctor. But I'm not a dummy. And I think I can find an answer. At least an answer that I'm comfortable with and gets me going day to day. Gets me going. Because I can't foresee a child pointing out individuals in a picture of multiple races, cultures, the diversity, and picking out one diversity and having hate towards them. Yes, maybe your child might be like, well, I could point to one child in that picture, or maybe someone that's bullying them, or maybe someone that's the class clown, or maybe the kid that farts in class. Yes, because that's a young developing mind. Do you know that when you teach your children hate, that's poison? That is the strongest poison there is. It kills. It kills. When you put hate into a child's head, you're creating acts of murder. You are not innocent. You are as guilty as that man that sits behind those prison bars who has raped women in many states, that finally, after his 56th victim, is caught and arrested and brought to justice. But we can't go back and fix those that he has hurt, killed, raped. But it can bring us a sense of peace to know that this person is no longer on the streets creating these acts of harm and violence against people. That doesn't mean there's not going to be another one, because there is. We know that. There's other people out there. But where is it coming from? Where is it coming from? Now, we can't help people that have mental issues. It's no one's fault. Sometimes people are born with mental issues, and we can only evaluate them and try to give as much treatment as we can to try to fix the imbalance. But that still doesn't make up the numbers of people out here who don't have mental issues that are creating harm. You're taking vices from other people and using them to push your agenda, whatever it may be, your agenda of hate. Oh, we see people burning the buildings, and automatically you want to put that on one type of people. When we have people, again, going live on social media, on many different platforms, right in front of your eyes, live. And you see, it's not just one set of people doing things. It's all people doing things. But you're still putting it on one people, or blaming it on one people. How about blame it on you? Because if you're that person that's feeling that way, then it's your fault. Because you're not doing anything to change the situation, to help the situation, to fix the situation. You're just sitting up in your home, blaming people. Well, we blame you for not being American and not using your voice as an American should. Home of the brave. Yeah, this is the home of the brave. The brave people that go out into streets, peacefully protest for change. That's the brave. Brave are the sisters and brothers of color every day when they walk out their houses. Brave to walk into a world, a country, where some don't like them based on their color, sexuality, whatever it may be. Those are the brave people. Brave because they don't know what might face them. They don't know if they'll make it home, whether acts of violence might be brought towards them when they're simply going to their car to get to their job to feed their families, or getting in their cars or getting on public transportation to get to school to educate themselves so they can provide for themselves, provide for their families. Those that might be actually getting in their car, getting on public transportation, walking, riding a bike to get to the office to treat your child. We don't stop enough in the day to think about others. We only think about ourselves. That's not healthy, and that's definitely not American. I've never been so angry in my life. But I'm not stupid enough to let that anger take me to the streets and start hurting people. So, I don't hurt people with violence. Yes, people are enraged, people are angry, people are mad. But I hurt people with the knowledge. I hurt people with my words. I hurt people with my actions. I hurt people with getting involved in the community. I hurt people with taking a stand. I hurt people that are bigots, that are supremacists, that are racist. The best way to hurt someone is having knowledge. The power of knowledge is the strongest thing you can have. To be knowledgeable of all things, different. Not of just one thing, because the mind is meant to hold so much, but you're only allowing your mind to hold one thing, one belief. So you're not using the capacity of your mind, because your mind can hold knowledge of every culture, every race, every truth. But you're limiting yourself. You're being closed-minded. It's not American. Just as you grow from an infant to an adult, your mind grows. You don't have proper nutrition, you don't grow. Certain things you need to grow. So, you're an adult. You've eaten. You've been fed. Your body has grown, but your mind is still so small. That's sad. That's not American. It is 2020. Wake the fuck up. People are tired. And as we all know, there's always a tipping point. Hundreds and hundreds of years of hate, cruelty, murder, death, racism, disrespect will stop. But it can stop a lot quicker, and it can stop with you. Do you want to make a change? Do you want to be positive? Do you want to be a real American? Do you want the best for your children? The best life for you? You can have all that. It had nothing to do with hurting someone else, hating on someone else, because you have a difference. How about working with those differences and come to a common ground? Separating yourself into one class, feeling that you're better than others, makes you no better than the next person doing the same thing. It actually makes you the lowest of all classes. You can have all the money in the world. You can have no money. But you can share that same thought with the person who's rich and the person that's poor of hate. It doesn't make that rich man any better, and it doesn't make you any better. It makes y'all both the smallest of the small. When you said someone into heaven, because that's where they're going when you create that act of hate on them. They're going to heaven, you're going to hell. When you send them, who asked you to do that? I don't think God said, hey man, I want you to take this gun and go out there and shoot all these people. God didn't tell you that. God did not tell you to do that. And what makes you think that you are almighty and powerful enough to take someone else's life? What makes you think you have the right? Well, you don't. You don't. You think it's your privilege? Well, you know what? We know things change, as history has taught us. The good always beats the evil. Karma always comes back. The way you're feeling today, if you create an act of hate upon somebody, it could be 20 years, 30 years from now. You could have changed your perspective 20, 30 years from now. that doesn't mean karma still wasn't waiting to catch up on you for that hateful act you did that 20, 30 years previously. Karma don't go away. Karma does not go away. It sticks like glue. And guess what? You don't know which form it's coming in. You don't. You could lose your entire family in a car accident. That could be karma for the acts that you chose. But do people think about things like that? No, because you're ignorant, closed-minded, unknowledgeable, uneducated. It's sad, and it's disgusting, and it's got to stop. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm just going to share with you the truth. The truth. When you hurt others, you're only hurting yourself more. When you hurt others, you are only hurting yourself. It doesn't move anything forward. It only pushes things back. Swallow that. Swallow that. And live with that. It makes you know better than anyone else. Hate is a word that should not exist, especially in this country. I'm American, 100%. That doesn't make me great, because I can say I'm American. I'm embarrassed to be American right now. I'm not embarrassed to be me, Charles Anthony, no. I'm proud to be who I am. But as an American, I'm sad. I'm ashamed. Because to say we're American means that we instill at least the most common things that makes us American. Americans are supposed to share, live amongst one another, diversified. So what is America then? What is America then? How can anyone look up to us? How are we the greatest? Because I don't think any country right now is looking at America saying, I want to be American. Or America is the greatest place. I don't think any country is looking at America right now thinking that at all. These countries aren't even letting us in. It's a sad day, America. It is a sad, sad day. And it's not going to change unless you make change. Change for good. Wake up. Get knowledgeable. Put your indifferences behind. Help your fellow neighbor. Educate yourself. Learn something about someone else, another culture. The sources are available to do this. Stop making excuses. I'm tired of people making excuses. Because if we're going to do that, it shouldn't be America, the home of the brave. America, the home of the excuses. The home of over 170,000 lives dead. America. The home of a non-ending virus. Because one person's not caring for many people. One person. You know that one person control millions? Wow. That makes you even smaller. I'm a leader, not a follower, I'll tell you that. America, it is a sad day. It has been a sad year. It's a mess. I'm telling you, America. Unacceptable. I didn't want to return to my second half of my second season on such a low note. I wanted to come back and share great news and be like, yeah, we kicked Corona's ass. It's gone. Woo, America rules. That wasn't the case at all. Not at all. Instead, I'm coming back on the second half of the second season with more shit piled on more shit. America, It's a sad day. Our borders are closed. Our people are dying. Our businesses are gone. Our economy is tanked. Our homes aren't some people's homes anymore. Our streets are being filled with tents, with families from all backgrounds, all economic situations. Still trying to make it day by day. Do what they have to do to get by, to live, to breathe. It's not all their faults that they can't afford to live where they are, or they're kicked out of their home, or they have no income coming in. They're not given any kind of help from the government, enough help that would sustain any American life to be able to have a roof over their head, food in their mouths, and education. Over 170,000 American lives. And you need to sit and question yourself still? You need to sit and ask yourself if your hate should still exist. That you going out on the street with a gun and shooting people is doing any kind of good? Shame on you. Shame on you. Look what's happening. There's fires, hurricanes, destruction, natural destruction. And you're adding to it when not asked to, and not by the sleight of God's hand. You have no right to inflict harm or pain on anyone, regardless if you feel a certain way about someone. Acts of violence, not at all, because of self-defense, and I'm talking immediate threat to your life, like someone's choking you, pointing a gun at your head. No, I'm not talking walking from your home out of your neighborhood to a main road where peaceful protesters are fighting to live peacefully in a world together, and raising your gun or pointing your gun at millions of citizens, diverse. Shame on you. Shame on you. All you're doing is you're burning your own American flag. You're burning your own American flag. It's not time for change. Change is going to be brought, whether you like it or not, and whether you're ready for it or not. Because people get tired, man. People get tired. I'm tired of turning on the damn news and hearing the same damn shit. When's the last time y'all heard some good news? When was the last time y'all heard some good news? I'm talking like real good news. Like, I can't even recall. I don't even know. You don't hear nothing on the news anymore about what's going on with Corona. Like it just disappeared magically. No. You don't even hear the man in the White House reporting correct facts from professionals. Professionals who know science. But no, rather firing people in the administration, taking out these people with knowledge, hiding. For what? Not for your agenda. For your agenda? If it was for your agenda, and you're listening to this, and you got a gold toilet, fine, for your agenda. But you got a gold toilet in your home? So how's that your agenda? How's that helping you? Because the money that all of us are paying out all of us tax-paying citizens are paying is going to that man's pockets. It's going into fake fundraisers. It's going in for what? Are you going to support somebody who's hating, taking your money? What? To fund hate? And you want to keep lying to yourself when it's blatantly obvious to the world what is going on. Keep denying actual facts and living off of fiction. Shame on you. Shame on you. You're not American. You're not American. I never in my life, never in my life thought I would have to sit here and even talk about something so profound as all this that's going on. It's unbearable. It's tiring. It makes us all weak. America, the home of the brave, the home of the free? No. How about the home of the ignorant? The home of the racist? The home of the white? Because that's what everyone's thinking. And every other country's thinking. And looking at us. You should feel embarrassed. You should feel ashamed. You should want to do something about that. And if you don't, maybe you shouldn't be here. Maybe you shouldn't be here at all. I'm going to tell you this. Sitting in your home, being silent, is not doing anything for anyone, for you or for anyone. I'm not saying you have to go out to the streets. A simple phone call, a simple letter to your state government, hell, to the federal government, simple sign, maybe in your lawn of support, maybe a contribution if you can do that, even a simple sticker you put on one of your social media pages. You can even simply make a statement. I hear you. I see you. I'm with you. Or, I hear you. I see you. I'm working on it. At least try. Attempt. Stop being so narrow-minded. Stop being so stuck on your ways that you can't see that maybe your ways aren't right. Or maybe your ways have to change. You guys know what it's like to write a paper. You guys know what it's like to write a thesis. You got your pros and you got your cons. But guess what? What do we do in the middle? We find similarities. That's the most important part of the paper, isn't it? What's in the middle, from the pros and the cons? Don't you think that's more important than just one side of the spectrum? To be able to take the left side of the spectrum and the right side of the spectrum and come in the middle is more knowledgeable than just having one side. I mean, that's easy elementary education, y'all. Wake up, America. It's a sad day. Shame on you. Shame on you.